What's up everyone, Darcblade here with a patch information video for Resident Evil Resistance. This covers patch 1.05, otherwise known as the Nicholai update. This patch was released today, which is the 15th of May 2020, and is around the 100 megabyte mark, so it's a small one. This introduces the new mastermind to the game in the form of Nicholai, one of the main antagonists from Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. Along with this mastermind comes new cards for them to play around with, and of course he comes with a new ultimate bioweapon in the form of the Nemesis. So in this video I'm going to cover what has changed, what is being updated, and what is new with this update. So first of all, in terms of new content, obviously they've added the new mastermind Nicholai. Alongside him comes new mastermind cards, and of course the Nemesis bioweapon. Nicholai seems to specialise in firearms and tracking his prey. In Resistance, this translates to useful camera-related skills and of course mounted firearms. His ultimate bioweapon Nemesis stands out because it's a fast bioweapon. It can use a multitude of attacks, such as tentacles, or even a raw attack that can stun opponents. It has more ranged options when compared to Birkin and Mr. X. Lastly, when it comes to Nemesis, it has access to his infamous rocket launcher, which can result in you annihilating an entire team of survivors if they're not paying attention, so it should spice things up. But alongside obviously the new content and the new mastermind Nicholai comes a whole host of other bug fixes, changes and adjustments. So sorry if I sound a little bit boring here, but I'm going to go into details about these changes, and hopefully these should alleviate some of the issues I had that I mentioned in my previous video about how I want to love this game. But anyway, first of all, in terms of added features and removed restrictions. First of all, players are granted bonus RP when they select random when in matchmaking when playing in quick play. So now you are rewarded for just simply selecting random when you go to quick match, so there's a little bit more incentive. Hopefully this should build up the player base a little bit more, as bonus RP is always welcome. Also, they've removed the rank restrictions for equipment slots, equipment point limits, and equipment chest purchases. So basically, when you go to equip your survivor or mastermind with new equipment and perks, there is no longer a level requirement. You will have access to all 4 slots, for example, and so long as you have equipment assigned to these slots, you can put whatever you want into them. It will still say down the bottom a point limit, but this has been maxed out, so it's pretty much you can go up to 20 out of 20 points spent on your equipment. On top of that, the equipment chests or loot boxes that you buy and purchase with RP, there is no longer any limits or level requirements in order to buy the best ones. Before this patch, you had to level up to certain ranks in order to access the high tier chests, which yielded the better equipment. This is now removed, and hopefully it should make a little bit more of a balanced playing field. Next up, the RP boosters will no longer be consumed if a match awards RP below a certain amount. So if you had a really quick match, instead of wasting that RP booster, it will now be pretty much refunded. So it should help players keep their RP boosters if they've been in a match where they simply got steamrolled. Next up, they removed rank-based restrictions from mastermind character selections and deck customizations. Map preset editing is now unlocked by reaching level 5 with any of the mastermind characters. So now you can pretty much select any mastermind you want. Before you had to start with Annette Birkin, level her up to level 5, and then you would get Daniel, level him up to level 5, and then you would get Alex Wesker, so on and so forth. Now they're all unlocked from the get-go. Same when it comes to deck customizations, which is very useful for masterminds. Being able to customize your deck allows you to play in certain ways or create certain builds with your masterminds. Having at least one deck unlocked from the get-go means that you can start specializing, and you may have a chance against higher level survivors. Now, not all the decks are unlocked, despite what it says here, but you still have the option to customize a few of them. The only thing that you should be aware of is you still don't have access to all the mastermind cards from the get-go. It seems that you still have to level up a little bit in order to get things like liquors and so on. So there's still going to be a little bit of grinding, and survivors still may be able to steamroll masterminds, but we'll have to wait and see how things balance out. Also, they've added a feature to reduce players from being denied entry to a room when matchmaking with a team of survivors. This was a matchmaking issue where players would be denied entry to a matchmaking room if they were playing with a group, so this is now sorted. And finally, in terms of added features, they added a feature to the Steam version of the game which allows players' profiles to be viewed from the results screen. So that's about it for the added features and removed restrictions. Obviously it's good in regards to removing the equipment restrictions and adjusting the various points and equipment limits and such. Hopefully this will lead to more balanced experiences, but we'll have to wait and see. But anyway, let's move on to resolved issues. Now there are a few here, these are normally fixes to various bugs and such. First of all, Capcom resolved an issue where using Lurking Menace ability would occasionally cause the Ataevo to die. This is Alex Wesker's bioweapon. I personally did experience this and was quite confused when I was playing Alex Wesker for the first time. Anyway, next Capcom went on to resolve another issue where some fever skills with prolonged effects would trigger their cooldown timers upon activation rather than after the effect ends. These included Jill, Becca and Samuel, so the skills will now go into cooldown effect after the fever skill has ended, instead of upon just activation. This could be seen as a little bit of a nerf to these characters, but from the looks of it, these are now supposed to work as intended. Next up was a fix to an issue where the Fury variant of Annette's ultimate skill had a shortened cooldown under certain conditions. They didn't specify what these conditions are, so I'm not 100% sure what these are. Annette Birkin is a mastermind I haven't played too much, to be honest, so I personally am not aware of this. Anyway, the next resolved issue was to a bug whereby being struck by the immobilizing rounds would completely disable players' control. Capcom also resolved an issue where players leaving a game after a match was created could cause subsequent attempts at matchmaking to fail, so another matchmaking bug fix there. And finally, they've adjusted some of Jill's escape animations for when she's grabbed by a monster and that. So there you have it, those are the bug fixes that they've addressed with this patch and hopefully should iron out the game's mechanics a little bit more. But let's move on to the fun part, which is balance adjustments. This is one area that I'm extremely interested in, as I think balancing in the game is one of the key issues that needs to be resolved. First of all, Capcom reduced the effect of the immobilizing round cards. This is in regards to the Mastermind skill card. They also reduced the duration of the electromagnetic shield card, so Masterminds can't protect their cameras as long as they used to be able to. They also reduced the effect of Spencer's mod recycler. They didn't specify how much they've reduced this, but it's a nerf to that Mastermind nonetheless. They also increased the bio cost of the discount skill card. This is a skill card that would reduce the cost of all other cards in your deck for one turn. They also reduced the effectiveness of some weapons when firing on security cameras to disable them. Again, Capcom didn't specify which weapons this applied to. I'm assuming it's the small caliber weapons. They also reduced the effect of the mixtape and Book of Wisdom equipment, so ultimately a nerf to these two items. They also lengthened the cooldown of the spray gun variant of Valerie's fever skill. This is pretty much like a healing flamethrower, but it has ultimately been nerfed. Capcom also reduced the enhanced variant of Annette's genetic mutation skill, so another nerf there. They also reduced the rate at which creatures would recover their health, hopefully nerfing the Daniel Vampire build, but we'll have to wait and see how this pans out. They also reduced the effect of EMP rounds for the survivors, and then finally they also adjusted how easily Alex Wesker's bioweapon, Ataevo, can be incapacitated. But a quick side note before we go, this patch update also brought with it a few new cosmetic items, but seeing as it is still a little bit of a grind to actually get cosmetic items unless you take part in the dailies and weeklies, I haven't been able to get my hands on them to really have an opinion on them yet. So there you have it. As you can see, lots of bug fixes, balance adjustments and more with this patch. Obviously the new addition being Nicholai and the Nemesis, but of course this may mean getting into a match, as Nicholai may take a little bit of time because he is a mastermind and he is new. Nemesis on the whole is a fun ultimate bioweapon to control. The fact that he can sprint after survivors causes them to panic quite amusingly. However, I reckon it will be only a matter of time before survivors cotton on to this new mastermind as well as Nemesis and come up with counter strategies. Regardless though, I'm more happy to see the balance adjustments that have come with this patch, hopefully making the game a little bit more balanced and fun to play. But what are your thoughts? Leave a comment down below, and until next time, I've been Darcblade, bringing you an information video regarding patch 1.05 for Resident Evil Resistance. Hope you enjoyed the video, thanks for watching, subscribe and like for more.
Now? Ah, good. But you were not good enough.